Hey everyone, for today's video I'm going to be going over the new POLA's kit and whether or not you should summon for her. For starters though, her apparent real name is Anti-Heroine POLA, but I do prefer Evil POLA, although I'm just going to call her POLA in this video. Anyways, starting out with POLA, she's an Earth Demon and her slots are 6-star physical, 5-star heal, and 4-star defense or support. They're alright slots. The heal slot, while not the greatest, can at least hold an Earth Relic, which makes her pretty much needed if you want to try running all the Earth Relics. The physical slot is alright, and while the 6-star equip could be useful, don't waste an LB unless you have a dupe of her. Her 4-star slot is pretty good as well for either damage resist or supporting, but moving on to her skill, it cures all allies poison, and all allies who had their poison cured get 60 arts. Definitely one of the better skills we've seen in a little while. It is of course insanely situational, but for what it does, it's the best at it. This is essentially a free Keratos every 12 seconds, as well as providing 5 arts a second to the team if you're being consistently poisoned. Definitely really nice to stop constant poisoning, although obviously outside of that it does fall off a bit. As for her arts, it does 16,000 earth damage physical, and for 15 seconds she increases the stats of all allies by 30%, as well as reduce everyone's damage from poisoned enemies by 30%. The stats up is solid for a pseudo heal, and again, while situational, the damage resist against poison enemies is really strong, especially considering it should be able to stack with all other damage resist buffs, so it'll be quite strong, especially considering POLA is able to poison fairly easily. As for her true arts, it does 50,000 earth damage physical, and for 30 seconds, allies above 50% HP get 4 arts a second, and she lowers the enemy's poison resist by 50%. It's also type F arts gen as well. It's a really solid true art. 120 AoE arts is solid, and it being type F is good since it's definitely a lot rarer than the other art gen typings. The poison resist debuff is obviously good as well for when you need the poison, which is what POLA is doing. As for her super arts, she does 150,000 earth damage physical. She has a 100% chance to poison for 30 seconds, and then for 30 seconds she increases the team's physical damage proportionate to her current HP percentage up to 150%. The guaranteed poison proc is really good, as well as the fact that it lasts for 30 seconds, which is really strong. Paired with the poison resist down she has on her true art, it'll be fairly easily to poison most enemies, and the AoE physical buff is nice too, as she'll be helping the team out a bit more than simply poisoning and art genning. As for her passives, she gets 100% paralysis and disease resist, as well as 100% damage and break power against poison enemies. The paralysis and disease resist is cool I guess, as is the damage and break power up against poison enemies, but I don't really think she's gonna be used for either break or as a DPS, so the buff does seem fairly wasted. Maybe if the team had passive art gen or a team-wide buff on the enemy being poisoned, but it being locked to only herself feels somewhat unfortunate. It is better than nothing though, and she'll definitely see some high numbers, especially on her super art. As for her true weapon, it has a 70% chance to poison for 12 seconds, and if the user's earth increases damage by 35%. When used by POLA, it gives her 3 arts a second, as well as 5% attack. It's a solid true weapon. That 3 arts a second is great, although I don't feel it's needed, but it will definitely make her a lot better for sure. In all though, she seems very strong. She's easily the best poison unit, and it's not really close. Having a guaranteed poison proc as well as a poison resist debuff makes her the essential unit to consistently poison. Her ability to buff the team's physical damage will also make her solid in more than just poisoning, making her like a pseudo Valentine's Priscilla, but not really. Beginners could definitely use her outside of needing poison, as her art genning is solid and her super art damage buff is good. She's a very good unit in all, but as for whether or not you should summon for her, I personally would just do your starting summons, but don't go deep. Just do your first 50 and then do like maybe 2 alks. That's about how deep I'd recommend for anyone, considering she's only really going to be used for poison and she's not a necessary unit. We don't know the rest of the banners, so I'm not sure how the alks look, but I'd still hold back regardless, as there doesn't really seem to be anything that's needed. Try to save up for Star God Lisa if she is pitiable and you still need her on the upcoming banner, as she's definitely going to be a lot better than POLA. Let me know what you think about POLA though, as well as whether or not you're going to summon for her. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.